Hello, everybody. Welcome to the IG Live. We're going to get started in just a moment. As soon as my guest arrives, I just want to begin by saying how grateful I am for you all to join and how excited I feel that we are going to be speaking with one of the people who are very, very special to me. Thank you for joining, and we will get started in just a moment. But while we wait, I hope you end up making the best of today wherever you are in the world. I am here in Miami, and it's been a beautiful morning. enjoying, enjoying the morning, and making the most of today. I watered my plants and woke up or got my mother off of the couch and had her join me in watering the plants. And here I am now, about to go live with Wei as soon as she joins. So let's see. You know what? While we wait for Wei, if Richa wants to join. Richa! No. And Martin, you're quite welcome. Thank you so much for your presence and for being here. Yeah. Wei Zhongwua might be having some technical difficulties. So let's give it a minute. And if she hasn't joined, then I will end this live, follow up with her, and try to figure out what the issue is. Thank you for your patience, Martin. Hey Martin, do you know Marie? Ah, there she is. There she is.
Hi, Farhan.
Hello. Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for being here. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, shall we get started?
Sure, of course. I was trying to figure out how I can actually join AIG Live. I hope I'm not too late.
No, I think you are just in time because a couple of people just joined. Thank you so much for being here. I would love to introduce you because I think you're an amazing person and I'm so proud that we know each other. So first of all, um, thank you so much to our audience for joining. I am joined here today by my mentee, somebody that I really respect, and her name is Wei Zhongwua. And Marie, as she also likes to be called, is an immigrant, just like me. And she was born and raised in China, and she came here at the age of 14, also the same age as me when I came to the US. And what makes Marie very powerful is she came to the US all alone and did her schooling in boarding school in Worcester, Massachusetts. And throughout the course of her high school, she was drawn to classics. So think Latin, think classical music, think classical arts, right? Besides that, And so deep became her passion for classics that besides signing up to study molecular biology and biomedical engineering at one of the foremost institutions in the world, Johns Hopkins University, she decided to also study classics. And as as an alumni of Johns Hopkins, and as somebody who is Phi Beta Kappa, who really believes in the value of liberal arts, I can't tell you how happy that makes me for somebody to make that kind of a commitment. Not only that, Marie loves snails. And so deep is her curiosity and love for learning that she has found a way to transform her sense of curiosity and love for her snails into research investigation. And I believe that the skills that she gains from this journey will help her to make a difference in the lives of others and make this world a more beautiful place, along with all of the other things that I believe Marie is capable of doing and will do. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to you, Marie. Thank you so much for joining. Is there anything that you would like to add as part of your introduction?
I think you did like a fantastic job, and I feel like you're doing way much better than I would do. So I guess I would just love to like share with anyone who's watching like how I knew Farhan. So I reached out to Farhan through One Hop, which is like the Hopkins alumni website, and he is super supportive. And he reached out to me as if we are just like friends who have known for so long. And every conversation we had, we just sort of ignored the time elapsing, and we discussed about everything. And each time I have a conversation with Farhan, I tend to get a sense of joy and also some new inspiration that I would never come out of. So I'm just really excited to be here. And this is like the first podcast ever I have joined. So I'm really looking
Woohoo!
to like put out my ideas and hope whoever listens to this can learn something new or having some new excitement in their life.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And thank you so much for sharing that, Marie, because, in a lot of ways, I'll speak for myself, but my behavior patterns were not conducive to you coming into my life because I don't actively, you know, check my inbox, and especially like, sort of mails that come in from Hopkins as much because my life is crazy. But I just happened to see her email come in, and I just happened to make a decision, make a choice to say, no, if somebody's reached out to me, I want to sort of follow up with that. And just the richness of our relationship and the deepness of our connection and how we're able to nourish each other, because Marie has taught me so much. I feel like my life is equally enriched as a result of her, and I'm honored, that she is here today and that our audience get to learn from her today. And so, with that, I would love to get started. And Marie, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your childhood, where you grew up, and the story of how you came to America?
Okay, sure. So I'm from China, and I finished my eighth grade in a public high school, in a public middle school in China. And ever since then, I decided to come aboard for study. So actually, I think the very first incentive that brings me aboard for my higher education was because I attended CTY, Center for Talented Youth, which is actually hosted by Hopkins. So what a great coincidence, I guess. But actually, when I signed up for CDY, I didn't get to accepted by the main campus. So I didn't actually come to Hopkins, but I went to another university. But it is because of that experience I learned about when you study in the US, you're actually learning for your own passion, and you are learning based on cooperation, and also your teacher would encourage you too much to think about like something beyond the box, so you don't rely too much on textbooks. So that summer camp brought me a brand new way of learning, and after that I decided I want to like go aboard and study. So ever since then I went aboard as a 14-year-old individual. So first, I went to a Catholic high school in Massachusetts for a year, and then I transferred to Worcester Academy, and repeated my freshman year and read all till my senior year, and then I got into Hopkins. So this is like a pretty interesting journey, and
Mm.
I consider myself as a relatively new immigrant to the U.S. because I have only been here for like 5 years, but still like I have really grown a lot. And me from now, when I look back to me as a 14-year-old, there's like a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's crazy, Marie, is you mentioned how you joined the Hopkins CTY, Johns Hopkins CTY, Center for Talented Youth, right? Program. I actually personally know one of the professors at Hopkins CTY,
Oh, really?
and it's so crazy. Yet another, sort of, coincidence, if you will, that sort of validates the two of us, being in each other's lives. That's just so amazing. Um, I'm very curious to hear. You mentioned how transformative the last 4 or 5 years has been for you coming to America, and how much you've grown when you look back. As an immigrant myself who came at the age of 14, and essentially I wasn't alone because I lived with extended family, but there were a lot of moments when I felt alone. Um, Talk to us about what was it like coming to America? What were some of the challenges you faced, and how you were pushed out of your comfort zone, and how they helped you develop you into the person that you are today? Whatever comes to your mind.
That's like a fantastic question. And I feel
Thank
like
you.
my mind, I just come up with a lot of different moments in my life. But I guess I would use like a main idea for your question. That would be um the friends I have made throughout my time here in the US. They have really helped me a lot to be who I am today, and also encouraged me to find my own passion. So I feel like some of the most memorable friends I have tend to be adults, so not like people around my age. It's like I do have friends on my age, but I tend to also seek out to people who are older than me, who has more experiences and expertise in whatever field they are. So talking about that, I guess it would be back in my high school, I have two most important mentors that had really helped me to find my double interest in both classics and also biology. So they were my biology teacher and also my Latin teacher. So they are all like PhDs in their own respective fields. But beyond class, I also have a really strong personal connection with them. So on the bio side, my bio teacher, he has really helped me to become who I am today regarding my scientific achievements, and also my outlook to what I want to do in the future in the field of science. So he voluntarily lead me to conduct my own scientific research beyond class. And
Wow.
I Here's one time he used our high school scientific funding to bought like DNA nucleotide. I remember the order was $120, and that was like a really phenomenal moment because I am actually doing scientific research beyond classroom, which is I think really rare for high school students. And I guess that's like one of the major reasons I got into Hopkins, because when I talk and I share this experience to the professors I have here, they are already shocked. It's like you as a high school student, you have already done so much. So I'm really grateful for my teacher who has helped me to become who I am today. And for the Latin side, I guess that it's more connected to our main topic today. So getting out of your comfort zone. So so talking about my story with classics, the reason why I chose to learn Latin on the first place as a freshman at Worcester Academy is because I found it super cool and I have never heard about it before. So because like when I come to Worcester Academy, I know Mandarin and English, but also the school would encourage us to pick like a foreign language. So back then we have Spanish, French, Mandarin, and Latin. So when I was looking at the syllabus, I was also talking to my parents, and they suggest me like, why don't you choose something that interests you, like something you have never heard about before? So I look at Latin, and originally I thought Latin was something related to like Latin American, or even like Aladdin from Disney. Yeah, it just gave me like a first impression. So I chose that simply because I don't know what it is and I want to learn more about it. So I chose Latin. And throughout the 4 years, I gradually grew huge amounts of love for this language and also the culture behind it. So I'm just really grateful for my high school to provide this kind of Latin program. So talking about like getting out of the comfort zone, I guess one of the most interesting moments I have in high school is me trying to join our high school's classes club. So I remember that was like at the end of my freshman year. I tried to join the classes club because I enjoyed so much in Latin class for my first year of high school. So I went to see my Latin teacher. He is also my academic advisor. So another great coincidence. Um, I reached out to him and I asked like, I know there's like a classes club here at in our high school. Would you mind if I join or become like involved into all the activities that you host? And my teacher told me like in with a really sad face, he said the school is actually thinking about closing it because I am basically
Wow.
the only remained in the club and there's no student and yeah, that's it. And that's like the moment that struck me so much because my teacher told me the classics club in my high school at its highest we have more than 20 students and teachers.
Mm.
And during that time they would meet after school learning about Latin and ancient Greek, and they will also watch like really silly classical movies and also try to like understand the culture simply because they're passionate about it. So when I heard about that, I just feel tremendously sad because after 10 years, the club, which used to be that large, was like closing because there's no one joining it. So I
Mm.
told to my teacher, like, I want to join. I'm like the student who want to join. And my teacher said, well, like, there's only like you. And in our school, we need to have at least like 3 students at most to make a club a club. So that's like the time when I decided to step out of my comfort zone and try to restore something that was gradually diminishing. And I feel like if I am not the one who does it, there's no one that's gonna do it. Because I do know we have a good number of Latin students in my high school, but no one seems to be interested about stretching their passion beyond class. So in order to do that, I reached out to several middle schools around the area. I met some of the headmasters and telling them, so hey, I am a high school student from Worcester Academy. I want to provide you free classics Latin programs for your middle school and even primary school students because I feel like this is a really cool enrichment to your curriculum and also because classics is the foundation of Western culture. I feel like it's really nice for the younger generation to learn about it and cherish where they come from. So I have been doing this for about 9 months throughout my sophomore year. And eventually at the end of my sophomore year, all the headmasters I reached out to, they declined my offer. And
Mm.
they're saying, I don't think our student need that part of the education. And another headmaster said, we just don't have the resource and time for you to do it. And another headmaster said, I have been reaching out, like sending a survey to my school regarding this, and no one like actually expressed their willingness to learn. So this is like the first failure I received regarding restoring classics, which really struck me for a while because I feel like I am a foreigner. I'm in the U.S. I'm trying to let U.S. people to learn about their own culture, and
Mm-hmm.
educators in middle school, they didn't seem to care that much. That was
Mm-hmm.
like bad for me at the beginning, and I told this to my Latin teacher, and he wasn't really surprised. He told me that's like what I was expecting, and that's indeed pretty true. And I was also
Mm.
out to some of my Latin class like friends, and that they are also not that passionate about stretching their Latin passion beyond classroom. So
Mm.
yeah, so like that initial failure has indeed struck me, and I feel like there is a need that need to be addressed. There's like a need that we need to focus on, because if I am in a country where some of the educators don't even pay too much attention on their own culture, that's like a huge problem. At least like for the several high school, like middle school I visited. So so during that summer I went back to China, and I feel like I need to do something
May
else.
I interrupt for just a second and ask you a quick question? Because I think you said very important, something very important that I want to sort of expound upon. Is that okay
Oh,
with you?
sure, sure, of course.
You mentioned just now culture is the Latin is the foundation for Western culture, and you just mentioned how as educators, if they were not interested in, teaching that culture, which is the foundation for Western culture, why do you see that as a problem? Let's talk about that a little bit. Why do you see that as a problem?
Yeah, that's like a fantastic question. And because this is actually a question I wanted to like ask those headmasters I reached out to before. Because I feel like Latin itself, it's a language, but it is a tool that we use to understand the past. So by learning the language, it seems like it is only a language, but it is a way, like a key for you to open the door of the ancient world. So I feel like, because the reason why I see classics as like really important is because when you look at the writings and all like the buildings and like all the history that Roman people and even ancient Greek people created, they instilled the sense of some basic political ideals and even cultural ideals of the West. So I shouldn't say classics is everything about the West, but at least it consists of a really important part of the West. So by reading
Mhm.
like some like political petitions like Cicero wrote, or even like for poets like Catullus, Virgil, and other people, they wrote about their understanding about human being, like who we are, why should we be human being, what differs us from animals, what makes us unique as human beings who can express ideas and inspire the future generations. So I feel like as I read about these in class, I feel like those like words thousands of years ago, the wisdom it contains can still be applied to today, and we can still learn from the voice that comes from like 2000 years ago. So I feel like if we don't continue to carry this forward, the future generation beyond us would never know what it was like before. So I feel like that's like the essence of history. The reason why history exists is because each generation becomes part of the history, but also they have the duty to pass it forward to the new generations so history can be passed along and recorded and remembered. So
Remembered,
yeah,
remembered, remembered. That is such a powerful word, Marie, because, the thing that I will add, which what you've shared as true wisdom is, human beings remembering is not our strong suit. And our ancestors made a lot of mistakes. And history is a way for us to record the mistakes that they made so that we don't make the same mistakes, right? So that we can move forward as human beings, and do our ancestors justice. And so thank you so much for allowing me to go off on that tangent.
Sure.
Let's get back on track. So where we were last was you were talking to us about the trials and tribulations of trying to restore the Latin club, and these educators at middle schools saying we don't have a need for, classics education, right? And your Harvard-trained professor, a teacher in high school saying, I'm not really that surprised, and how that really deeply impacted you, but you didn't give up. You didn't give up. So tell us how you persevered.
Yeah, so I feel like because the reason why I wanted to build this bridge sort of thing, like the community service, is because I can use that to convince my school, saying like the classes club does have a activity going on, and that's community service, which is really important for high school students. So I feel
Hell
like it
yeah.
should be remained and saved. So in order to do that, I kind of shift my gears, and I try to find a new way to make some impact and convince my school that this is still important. So that summer I went to China, and I decided to create a classical sharing platform through WeChat, which is China's largest social media. So I cherish this social media so much because the sharing platform is like part of the social media. So like when you have an account, you can use that to create a public account where you can publish articles, videos, text, pictures on a certain topic. And if people are interested in your topic, they will just follow your account, and you can continue to grow this up and up and up. So I created that during the summer of my sophomore year, and I started to write articles. And during that same year, I also started to host public classes class in my hometown Shenzhen, which is a international city near Hong Kong. So I remember that time I was kind of nervous at first because I feel like people in the US are not like paying too much interest in classics. If I do this in my city, will there be any people who join? But
Mm.
when I posted like this free class, I have 30 students. So ranging from adults to like child, and even their parents and even their grandparents. So like I spent 10 hours in the course of 3 days doing some basic like classics introductory class on like Roman history, simple Latin grammar, and also why we should learn classics. And the 30 students I have, they were really passionate about what I was talking about. And they are actually taking notes and learning about this stuff.
Mm.
Oh, oh yeah, I thought you have like.
Yeah, I wanted to actually take a quick interjection, and you said something that I think is very important, right? And we'll get back on track.
Sure.
Which is, you said that having had a setback, quote unquote, failure to promote the agenda for classics in the West, when you had this idea of doing it in the East, in your hometown, while you were back in China for the summer, you were like, the way I perceive you, the way I heard you, if I failed to do it in the West, what's the likelihood that I will succeed in a place that knows nothing about classics? But you did it. So I think there's so much power there. So can you tell us a little bit about what were some of the negative self-talk that you had? Expound on that. And what was it within? What was the internal narrative within you that said no? Despite this being a possibility, I want to do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna spend my life energy, my time, my whatever to put this article out there. Even though there's this risk that it will fail even more in China. Tell us about that, please.
Yeah, I was like I was hoping to like share this story like later, but I guess this would be like the perfect time. So the reason why I have some confidence in spreading classics in the East is because of a family heritage I have. So so that can be traced back to two generations before, all the way back to my great grandfather from my mother's side. So he was a Chinese scholar, and he used to have his own private silk industry. But during the Cultural Revolution in China, he gave up his private industry and took all his books that he loved back to the countryside and lived as like a scholar in recluse with my great grandmother. So when he was like studying on his own, he has collected a good number of ancient bundle of books that actually writes about classics in Chinese. So this is like really fascinating. And these books are called let me try to recall the name. Um, the Drinking Ice Rooms. So it's written by Liang Qichao, who is a really important Chinese scholar in the 20th century. So he actually, so that author, he actually went abroad to the West to study, like on the last century, which I find absolutely fascinating. So he went to, I remember he went to the UK, also the US, and also a lot of European countries. And he wrote about what he saw and how he understood how the Western culture and the Western nation works. So he wrote these into these bundle of books. And my great grandfather has a copy of these books, and he absolutely loved it. So
Mhm.
he passed down these books to my mother, and she passed these down to me. So when I look at these books, I saw my great grandfather's own personal handwriting. He wrote some notes on the margin and circle out the words that fascinates him. So on the really beginning, like on the first chapter of this bundle of books, I saw something about Rome. So it's like a word saying the new Rome is like the old Rome because of the heroes that built this nation up. If there is no Alexander the Great, there will never be the Macedonian Empire, and things like that. So this whole book starts with these words, and my great grandfather he circled some of the words out, and he even wrote Rome, Alexander the Great in Chinese on the margin of the books.
Wow.
So when I was looking at that, so my mom she showed me like the first time she showed these books to me was when I was like really young. So back then I wasn't too sure about what I was actually looking at. I just thought, wow, it's cool, like it's a family heritage. But during the summer of my sophomore year, before I started to write the article and the account, I was actually hiding myself away from classics for several weeks because I was really struck by the failure I met in my high school. So I was like talking to myself, I'm not doing this again because like nobody is like actually responding to me. But at that time, I looked at the ancient bundle of books that is being put like right in my living room, and I reopened the books again and I looked at my grandfather's penmanship. So he's like a great scholar, so his calligraphy was superb. So he wrote literally the same as how the book prints. So I looked at that and I feel like my great grandfather 100 years ago, he is learning about Rome. He's learning about classics. He's understanding classics in a Chinese scholar way. And for me, right now, I have more opportunities and more chances than him. I can actually go abroad to study. I can actually study Latin in English. I can actually understand the language. So I have more resources comparing to my great grandfather. So if he is working hard on it 100 years ago, why shouldn't I continue this trend? Why shouldn't I bring this forward? So I think it's that sort of like a milestone, like the aha moment that reminded me I need to continue to do this. If I cannot do this in my high school, I should do this in my hometown. Because I'm sure there will be more people like my great grandfather who is interested in this, but they just don't have the platform or the ability or a breakthrough for them to actually devote themselves into the study. So I feel like I need to create this platform that is friendly for everyone. For those who didn't even know English, they can still understand the virtue, the beauty of classics. Because talking about that, I do know, like in Beijing University and Tsinghua University, these are the two greatest universities in China. We do have a tiny classics department under history department, and based on my search on their website, there is about 10 in total classical scholar like in China who are learning
Wow.
about ancient Greek, Latin, history, and stuff. So I'm really glad there's like people who have great intelligence than me doing this. But I do feel like there's a need for the public who doesn't even know too much about this field to get access to it, to learn about it, or maybe just read it on their leisure. So because before I created my platform, there are two existing platforms on WeChat about classical culture. Um, Another one is called Stone City. It's also a student-hosted classical platform, but they also share other things regarding to classes in general, so including Chinese classics. So they are not like Latin focused. And the other platform I saw was hosted by a professor in one of the two universities I was talking about. And obviously he is amazing. He really knows about the details of classics, but the articles he published was really high class in some ways. So for me, I can understand it, but for like common people who does not know too much about classics, they might find it boring or even hard to decipher. So I feel like
Yeah.
the why I want my platform to be among the three is because I am confident that my platform is friendly to everyone. My platform is friendly to those who don't even know English. And I was actually sharing my articles to my grandparents, and they do not know English at all, but they have been reading my articles and find it interesting. And even my father,
Wow.
he doesn't know English too much. Like my mom, she knows English pretty well, but my father, he was looking at my articles, which I wrote in Mandarin, and he understand. Oh, you are learning this in college, and this is
Hmm.
like, and this is how you understand the Western world. This is fascinating. And also, I have been sharing this like to my friends and my teachers in China, and they begin to understand. Wow, there is a field called classics, and this field is dedicated to understanding the beauty of humanity. And regardless of who we are and which country do we come from, we should all learn classics simply because we want to learn how wonderful humanity was 2000 years ago and how we are today is really deeply connected with people from the past.
Hmm.
So, oh yeah, sure.
If I may, I'd love to have you expound a little bit on why should everyday Chinese people care about Western classics? Why should it be less boring for them? Why should they spend time learning, understanding Western classics as opposed to Chinese or Eastern classics in the limited time that they have? What is the value there, Marie?
That's
Help
like,
us understand.
yeah, it's a fantastic question. So, talking about that, I think I need to share with you one of the greatest spiritual mentors I really adore. It is
Please.
our president Xi Jinping from China. So he is a great politician, but also he's a great philosopher to my mind. So he has a ideal about how everyone on this earth should behave, and this ideal was the fate of all human beings are all together. So when I heard about this at the first time, I found this astonishingly beautiful because I feel like even though people are from different countries and we have different values and we have different way of organizing um, the government, we are all human beings and we all share this planet. So all the fate of human beings are connected together. So in this way, I feel like this is not only about the political side, but also about the cultural side. So in order to make the whole earth, like everyone on this globe, more connected and live in harmony, we need to understand each other's cultural background. We need to understand the great variance in this world. We need to understand all the differences and the similarities between everyone in this world. So when I was recalling that from what our president said, I feel like I can apply the same idea, the same mindset into my classics mission. So I feel like if I can share my understanding about the Western culture to my friends in the East, they can understand US, they can understand European countries in a different way, and they can actually find out, oh, despite the difference we have historically, because I feel like ancient China and the ancient West was also two separate worlds, but we share a similar kind of wisdom, and we are all trying to discover the fundamental of humanity and how that matters. Because ever since I created my account, I have received a lot of support and a lot of love, and also there have been a lot of amazing scholars who leave comments to my articles, which I find super fascinating. But also, indeed, because I have been building this platform, I have also received some pessimistic comments. So I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
say, but I think they are generally pessimistic. So they have been saying, why are you creating this account? Why does this account matter too much? Or I'm from China, so I prefer to learn about classical Chinese history more. Um, why would you, as a Chinese, um, promote classics, which is not even our like traditional heritage? And
Mm.
also asking some people asking like because of the current like political situation between the US and China, like the East and the West in general, or maybe like um communists and capitalists in general, this kind of a conflict, the difference they have has give people a stereotype. They just feel like we are different people, we are different world. Like I have my standards and you have your standards. So why should I learn about your culture? Why should I learn about your history? I don't really care. It doesn't really matter to me. So I have been receiving these kind of ideas from people, which I can emphasize with them because I totally understand why they would think in that way. But I feel like that has encouraged me further to stretch my classical mission forward because I really want them to understand learning classics is not related anything related to the current world situation. And you should simply learn classics because you want to learn how humanity has evolved and why we are what we are today. And also by allowing them to understand how beautiful the ancient world is, people who are holding stereotypes today, can probably understand the West in a different way, in a new way, in a more positive way, in a way that they can understand. They can actually separate what happens politically and what happens culturally. So that can actually round it up to the title of our podcast today. I'm a bridge builder, so that's what I'm considering me as. I wanted to build a bridge between the East and the West. I want to build a bridge between people from across the Pacific Ocean. I want them to understand, even though we are different, maybe in our government ideals or our like social ideals, we are connected together simply because we are all human beings, and we all have this humanity that makes us unique from other animals. Because recently I was reading like something Aristotle wrote. He was discussing why human beings are different from animals, and basically what he said is like human beings are unique because we have words, we have logic, we have the ability to put our thoughts into words and say it out. So when I was reading that, I absolutely agree with it, because I feel like, yeah, this is why we should learn about classics, because we are human beings. We write our history on words. We write our history into something that can be chanted, that can be remembered, that can be passed down into the medium of words. That makes us different from other animals. So we should utilize that to encompass what we have before and pass it to the future. So I just feel like by building up my platform, I hope I can turn the stereotype, and I can probably bring more Chinese people a new sense of joy by learning something new by just swiping their phone. So yeah, I'm really grateful for all the supporters I have. And actually, I have been expanding my team, which is super fascinating. So right
Wow.
now, I have been building this platform for 2 years, and we have more than 2,000 followers right now. So I also showed
Wow.
this to my Latin professor here at Hopkins, and he's actually really amazed, and he's actually really happy. So that actually brings me more joy and gives me more encouragement to pass down my tradition and pass down my goal and my mission. So talking about my team, I am the founder, but right now our team, we have about 5 individuals passionate about Latin and ancient Greek, and we write articles. So the other individuals are also Chinese students studying abroad, and some of
Mm-hmm.
them from U.S. high schools, and some of them
Mm-hmm.
are um, UK. And recently, we have also gained a new member who is actually from Beijing, and
Mm-hmm.
she has been learning classics from a professor from Beijing University. So she learned Latin on her own by reaching out to that professor as her mentor. And
Wow.
she reached out to me saying, I wanted to join your group in hope that I can write some articles on my own and trying to share to more people how much I love Latin. So I actually found that super beautiful, because as I grow this platform more and more, there has been more people that come up to me and tell me I wanted to be part of the team. I want to also spread classics as you have been doing. Yeah, because so talking about my platform, there's like another interesting feature that this platform has. You can build article collections on different topics. So right now I have 7 topics. The first one is Roman mythology. The second one is Roman history, and then is Latin grammar tutorial, um, Latin works like reading Latin literature, and also AP Latin collection, which is created by one of
Wow.
my team members. And we have also created a special collection of articles where I tend to find some news about classics and translate them into Chinese, so people can understand what the Western academia has been going on. And recently, I have launched a new collection. It's the ancient Greek grammar collection. So yeah, I have been learning ancient Greek for like about a year right now at Hopkins. So I want to sort of, as I learn, I also share what I learned to the followers I have in my platform. So I'm sure there will be more collections coming, but I just feel like this whole idea of being able to share what I learned here to my virtual friends in China, the idea itself is just fascinating.
You know, Marie, you are a virus. You are like the most infectious, most beautiful virus because you are spreading this love for something in such an infectious way that is so needed in the world to help bring us, humanity, closer together. And for that, I applaud you, and I'm sure our audience applauds you. And I would love for you to share one of your accomplishments as far as starting this community, right? Nurturing students, building it. Could you share one of your accomplishments in this regard to highlight the hard work that you and the people that have helped you build this community have done?
Okay, sure, of course. So this is actually really exciting news. So the second member who joined my group, she's called Olivia. So she's also a US high school student. She's from Kohler Academy. I believe it's in Indiana or somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong. Like if
Culver,
all
Indiana. Yep.
yeah, if you hear this, if I say your school name wrong, I'm sorry. But she is a really amazing individual, and she joined my platform, I believe, a year ago, and she has created this whole AP Latin collection, and she has been writing amazing articles. So recently she was applying to college, and she got a likely letter from Harvard. So
Wow.
she like a Chinese female student who got into Harvard in classics. So I'm so proud of her, and I'm really glad like her activity like on being a member of our platform has helped her to stand out in her application. So I'm actually really proud, and I feel like she should also be really proud, and she's waiting for her offer to come. I believe it's coming soon. I believe the
Wow.
to be the Ivy week. So like the Ivy offers are coming out. So I just feel like this platform has not only helped me to get into Hopkins, but also helps her to get into Harvard, like the most wonderful institution in the world. And she is able to expand her dreams and her passion about classics in that wonderful institution. And I feel like her passion about classics is more about like feminism. So she was paying attention to the voice of females in the ancient world, and she's also focusing on how the ancient world can represent itself in our contemporary era. So she is also a phenomenon classicist, and she also told me she's going to continue writing articles on our platform as she becomes like a college student. So I guess like for me, before I die, I will continue to do this platform. So I will never stop until the day I die, or until the day that this platform has been replaced by some higher technologies. Because I don't know, like everything, like anything can happen in the future. But I feel like as long as I have the capability to continue this sharing platform, and as long as my friends they have the passion to continue this with me, I will continue to do that. Because
Mm.
I have a teacher like back in China. She was actually telling me like how fascinating it is for me to continue this platform even after I got into college,
Mm.
because there has been a lot of high school students doing like communal impact initiatives, but they will stop. They will no longer do it once they got into college because they feel like I'm just doing it in high school because I want a really cool activity on my application. But for me, I feel like this is part of me, and I'm not doing this for college, but I'm doing this because this is one of the future goals I want to do for my career,
Mm.
at least part of my career, because I'm also not giving up on biology. But I feel like classics has always been the special spot deep in my heart. And I feel like having this ability to continue this trend and being supported by more and more people, this is just one of the best things that can happen to my life.
And Marie, let's be honest. This Western classics sharing platform that you started, it's really one of your children. It is your baby. It is your child, and you are its parent. And so, no parent, no mother would want to give that up, right? And there's something that you said when you were sharing about your student, and how she is representing the voice of feminism from ancient classics, Western classics. She's also, the thing that I want to emphasize is she's doing that here in the U.S. as an immigrant, who is contributing to the richness of our fabric within a couple of years of coming to this country. And that is the note on which I want to end today's episode, which is sharing my belief that I know in this country, in the US and elsewhere in the world, views on immigration and immigrants is very controversial. I believe, as an immigrant to this country, and I believe the US is the greatest nation in the world, because I have lived in many other places in the world. I haven't lived in all those places, but I am so grateful for my life, for the opportunity, for the privilege that I was given here in the US, and how much success I have been able to have in such a short time. I believe that what makes this nation the greatest nation is our immigrants. Our immigrants in the United States of America are our greatest treasure. And it is my mission to say that as many times to everybody, for more people to start believing this, because that will help us be more united as a country, and to ensure that we continue being a nation that generates light, that showers it onto the rest of the world, and serves as an example of human evolution, of human progress, and of hope, of undying, infinite hope and love and light. And with that, I want to thank you, Wei Zhongwua, for coming, for spending your precious time here, having this rich discourse with me to share something that you are so passionate about. And I also want to thank my audience, our audience, for making the time, taking time out of their valuable day to listen to what we have to say. Without you, we would not exist. So thank you. Thank you very much. Until the next episode, love and light. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we will talk to you later.
Oh, actually, Farhan, I have a small thing to add. So,
Yeah.
I realized like our one of our like audience is Martin. So I actually know Martin.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
He's one of the followers of our platform, and he is also
okay.
a really amazing scholar. He knows Latin really, really well. So I think he reached out to me like a couple weeks ago after
Uh-huh.
one of my articles about my experiences learning classics in at Hopkins. So
Mm.
he a good number of passages in Latin, sharing his
Oh,
passion and his gratefulness to like know this platform and meet me. And also I'm really grateful to meet him. I'm not sure if he's like still in the chat right now, but he is a really amazing scholar.
yeah.
And I remember there's one verse he told me. He said, when I was looking at your article, I just have an urge to write in Latin. I just have an urge to express myself in Latin and I just want to do it. And that kind of urge allowed me to continue doing this till midnight. And I write. And
Mm.
so yeah, I just want to like add this up because I saw Martin's comment like coming up before. And he's a really amazing individual. And I'm really grateful for all the scholars like him that supports me. Yeah, that's
Hell
what.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you for, speaking up about that and sharing that, you know. Thank you. Thank you so much. So with that, let's wrap up for today. And thank you. And we'll chat soon.
Okay, thank you, Farhan. Have a great day.
Bye.